Such as they are. That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is...
That's lovely.
If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the free marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands. Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfelds, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
It's reassuring.
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send...
I really wish the dog would stop barking. He's real annoying.
Though who knows what Loghain...
Especially when I'm trying to talk to people.
Tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens...
It's fucking awesome.
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
So be it.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away.
How would you become a
Same
Grey
way you
Warden,
did.
huh?
Drink some blood, you choke on it, pass it out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
Yeah, before that.
Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills. Well, it wasn't an easy life, you know. I don't know whether or not you've noticed, but I'm not exactly the Chantry.
Oh, I've noticed.
The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Could she do that? I kind of have reason to doubt she could.
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have. He was a good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm
Most
sure.
good men don't deserve their fate, but that's outside our control. I'm not done talking to you,
What
fool.
do you need? Ask away. Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfelds. A whole pack of them, in fact.
Well, that would explain the smell.
Well, it wasn't until I was 8 that I discovered you didn't have to lick yourself clean. Old habits die hard, you know. Oh, there you go, listening to me again. You'd think you'd have gotten past that already. I ended up in the Chantry, sure, but I didn't start there. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof
And then he
over
gave
me.
you to the Chantry.
He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough. Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But
Yeah, let him do his thing.
anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
Yeah, well, fuck her. Who's mad, right?
I suppose you're right. I wasn't raised as the Arl's son, though, if you're picturing that. I slept in hay, out in the stables, not on silk sheets. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
So, his story about, he was, the son of a servant girl, whatever. They end up retconning that story, his backstory, I think in one of the books, one of the comics, one or the other, where they made his mother a elf mage who was a Grey Warden. I'll go more in depth later when we find out more from the game, but I feel like saying that they kind of retconned his backstory. I'm not quite sure why they did that.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Kaelin's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Can we talk more?
What do you need? Ask away. Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
Uh-huh.
I keep it hidden under my pillow. Sometimes I'll take it out just so I can hug it.
Oh my god, dog, be quiet.
Good old days. Brings a tear to the eyes, you know. Oh, sure. They said that all the self-flagellation would be unpleasant, but you know what they say. One man's...
I don't know that saying.
You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really boring.
If I didn't want to know, why would I ask?
You know, I like the way you think. You're all right. If you're really curious, then I'll tell you. The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
Yeah, where I came from.
You must miss them a great deal. Duncan and the Grey Wardens are the closest I ever got to that kind of family. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home. Though that seems...
Well, once the Blight is over, we go
And I suppose...
in a wildly different direction.
Good. Either way. I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same.
It might.
Anyhow,
If you give it a chance
now I've
to.
sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
I'll talk to you more later. Let's talk to Stan.
Why are we stopping? There are Darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
Yeah, are you okay?
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
Tell me of your people. Okay.
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
You don't gotta be a dick about it, Jesus.
I am. I have always fought in war, elf. Some of them. They aren't all alike.
That's true enough.
Generally, I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate. As you wish.
Jesus Christ, Dan. You gotta be so curt.
Yes.
Blunt.
Sitting, as you observed. No, it's a choice, not a necessity.
Oh my gosh, Dan. I love you, but...
Warden, if I truly disliked you, I would leave. That I am still here, you may interpret however you choose.
I interpret it as you being a dick.
I did. Parshera, was there anything
Oh my
else?
gosh, Dan.
I am hardly surprised. To answer a question,
What was the question?
the Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity. I
Oh,
am
well, the
now
blight
here.
is some fuck shit.
Why do you? So if this blight were in Orlais, it could consume the land with impunity.
If we were in Orlais, there'd be other people dealing with it.
That. I do not know why the Arishok sent us. He commands and I go. A portion of it. Were you not at Ostagar when the army was
Were
overwhelmed?
you?
That is your answer. Yes. Never. I cannot go home. Thank you. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
Let's keep talking.
Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised.
Nothing? We're out of prompts?
well.
Okay.
As you wish.
Can I give you shit? Do I have any gifts? I don't say. I have to check the list of gifts so I can figure out who likes what. Talk to Morrigan.
What do you wish of me?
I wish to talk.
If you must.
Did you grow up in the woods?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
You can probe me anytime you want.
Beg pardon then while I jump for joy. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a
Why do you talk like this?
Would you not do the same? Your world is an unforgiving and cold place. The wilds I hail from is home to me, and I a natural denizen. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be
In what way?
I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
It's very daring.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
Yeah, that was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, it is not
Aren't
her.
you human too?
Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things.
None of these things you still know, I
do not
doubt.
understand it all, truth be told. But then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again. Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
No, we're gonna keep talking. I'm not done with you yet.
Yes? If you must. You are very cute to ask
Well, you
so
are cute
many
too.
questions. Really? Perhaps we should be wrapped in ribbons and adorned with flowers. So cute are we too. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were.
The fact she's still alive
Plymouth made
is
it
enough
into
to tell
the
me
game,
what
in
happened.
fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
What does that mean?
I am unsure. I was too young to understand, and perhaps 'twas bravado on Flemeth's part, or perhaps she was merely amused. I will never know. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to
Of course
heed.
they did.
And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom. Me? No, I never did any of the killing.
Yeah, until later.
And even then, Flemeth was a glutton for that sort of thing. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum. I think that my mother made it fun so that a child did not learn to fear. And I think that it was necessary. There are no trials for apostates, no prisons, no mercy. There are only absolutes, so only survival matters. If the
I guess
wilds
that
have
makes
taught
some
me
amount of sense,
anything,
but
it is this. First,
some amount of fear would
you
still be
must
healthy.
survive. Do you disagree?
There are absolutely worse things than death.
Oh? I would ask what exactly, but I'm certain that would be a lengthy conversation, and suddenly I grow very weary. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
Oh, what the fuck? How'd that happen?
Yes? At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and
Did I
things
misread
was
that
all very foreign to
one
me.
option I chose?
If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees. Such simple pleasures will only enthrall for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments, the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth
fear she
and
was still
beauty must be. I snuck
Yeah,
up
there we
behind
go.
her, and stole a hand mirror from the carriage.
I knew you would steal
It was
something.
encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
Yeah, I doubt she was happy.
She was not. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
I took your mirror and I threw it on the ground.
Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I
What
would
about
not be here
power from
today,
love?
as difficult as they might have been.
So narrow-minded.
They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
No, there we go. We're getting our approval back
Yes.
up.
If you must. Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem?
An old woman.
Oh, she certainly was human.
What is she now?
Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. No doubt such a tale has mutated much over time, and
Most likely.
I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
How long ago was this?
Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife. And Osen...
Oh, that's pretty shitty.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested...
Oh, okay then.
All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
Well, at least she's loyal to some degree.
That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Oh, is that so?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came. but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Okay. How about that part?
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Okay, why would she not tell you?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and
That's
ate
lovely.
their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
How is she still alive?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to
Too bad the fight with her is not that easy, huh?
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious.
Well, she
nevertheless.
did.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us
No,
move
I
on.
like you, so it counts to some degree.
Yes? If you must.
Hold off on that one for a bit.
Yes? We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. What's this? 'Tis a rather odd discussion you seem to desire, leaning in
Kiss me,
so
woman.
closely. Not unless you stop.
Did I just grow like 5 inches? What happened here? Why am I taller than her all of a sudden? That'll make no sense.
Yes? We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Discuss us?
Discuss away.
Never mind.
Yes? If you must.
Okay, we're done with her now. Talk to these guys real quick.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fennick at
I
your
haven't forgotten
service
yet.
once again. I saw your camp and remembered the kind offer that you made the last time we met. And is there anywhere safer for a poor merchant and his son to sleep? I think not. I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good?
Yeah, it'll
Yes?
work.
Anything, everything, but all of the finest quality. No cheap trinkets here. And my boy Sandal happens to be a bit of a hand with enchantments. Oh, yes. Sadly, it also makes us a target for bandits and the like. If there were spare hands to hire as guards, I would have done so long ago.
But you didn't, really? I doubt there's no one available.
Wonderful. Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me.
Can I sell shit to you right now?
Something you need? I'm sure either my boy or I can help you out.
Let me see your wares.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected. And with your discount.
Oh, you didn't mention a discount earlier. That's new to me. Don't need that. The hell did this come from? I don't recall getting that. You don't need either of these. Get rid of these. hold on to the rest of this stuff for now. Unless I can give it to Morrigan. Should probably test that real quick. Hang on. Hang on, Morrigan. Can you wear the... Oh, you can. Is it worth it? Oh yeah, it is. You look like a moron.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along
Hang
on the
on.
road.
Let me sell some shit real quick. Or I guess just that one thing.
If there's
Yeah.
anything
Tell me
I
a
can
story.
do for you. Well, if you're really interested, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. I am originally from Orzammar, the famed dwarven city that lies beneath the stately Frostback Mountains. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
Yeah, why'd you leave?
One day, a noble woman came to my stall. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
What happened next?
Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost ties. They're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure. Something worth a little gold. That's exactly how I see it. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got.
So that mean you're wanted in Orzammar now?
You're quite welcome. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
We'll talk more later.
Of course. Good fortune to you and yours.
Goodbye.
Alright guys, I would love to keep going more, but I'm fucking exhausted and I can't keep going. So we're going to call it a session right here. We've gone for 2 hours, which is usually my minimum. We made it through Lothering, so you know that's a good thing. And when we come back, whenever that is, we're going to take care of the first part of Redcliffe Village, which is a mandatory part of the story. But until then, hope you guys have a good day and a good night. Hope you guys do good at your life. I'm going to save the game, and then I'm going to head off to bed. So I'll see you guys next session. Bye-bye.